The last 4 years of this war, the supposed allies of Ukraine have not stopped the military invasion of a European democracy, Ukraine, of course. They've sent all the goods, they've sent some aid, but they've not sent what Ukraine really needs. The organization meant to ensure that something like this would never happen in Europe, NATO, has failed to stop the war. Russia is now violating NATO airspace and pushing our limits and pressing our buttons to see how far we will go, to see if we'll actually respond to Russian aggression. And they expect us not to. They expect us to back down. They think we're a paper tiger. But we will show them wrong. We will show them that we are strong and united. We have given Russia multiple chances at peace before and after the annexation of Crimea, aka part of Ukraine. A little island, in 2014. And actually, after 2014, we've given them 25 peace proposals that they have all broken. They've all broken those peace agreements. So Russia does not want peace. They never have. Any peace agreement that Russia signs will be to ensure that Russia can build up its forces and invade Ukraine again. An actual peace agreement needs NATO guarantees on Ukraine to make sure Russia does not invade again. But Russia will never sign that agreement because Russia does not want peace. They just want to invade Ukraine again, and they will keep on invading countries. Next will be Finland. Next will be whatever other country. Next will be Georgia. And they won't stop until they get every single inch of Europe. They've taken parts of Georgia. They've taken Transnistria. They've taken 25% of Ukraine. They've taken Belarus. And they've almost taken Georgia, the entirety of it. When will it stop? Never, never. We tried this in World War II, appeasement. We kept on giving Hitler little bits of land, thinking he'll stop, but it never did. And now people look back on that thinking, oh, what if we intervened sooner? So now is the time to intervene sooner. That's why I call for peace, and I call for peace by victory. To show that we are united and strong, we must intervene in Ukraine, militarily and economically. So just solid troop numbers, this include, I'm talking mainly ground troops, but also naval, also Air Force, technicians, and other stuff. I'm proposing, first of all, that Canada, the country I'm from, send all 2,000 troops stationed in Latvia to protect Europe from Russian aggression. Go and protect Europe from Russian aggression in Europe. Of course, we can restock this, but we have a low supply of manpower in the Canadian military, so I get why you would. But very least, send all troops stationed in Latvia to Ukraine to fight. For the U.S., I propose sending 50,000 troops. Now, I didn't pull this number out of nowhere. That is roughly the amount of troops stationed in Eastern Europe from the U.S. Now, of course, they would reman these stations. There's a reason why those stations are there, but 50,000 is the number, and probably from bases in Eastern Europe. For the lesser powers, not really lesser, but other major powers like the UK, France, Germany, I propose sending 10,000 troops, since you're a power enough that you can send a pretty good amount of troops, but also you're not the US. And I also propose Poland sending 10,000, since they are such an advocate against Russian aggression and such a friend of Ukraine. And for other minor powers like Canada, Iceland, I propose those countries send 1,000, 2,000, low 1,000 range of troops. Since, you can't really afford sending 20,000 troops, So the first part of Ukrainian liberation is the air fight. We have to gain aerial superiority. Now, we basically kind of are. Russia's air superiority in its own territory is waning. Ukraine can send in drones all the time, and they do not get intercepted. But the skies over Ukraine are still contested, so we should ramp up the production of fighter jets. And we should send 700 fighter jets to Ukraine against Russia's 833. And NATO has roughly 3,275 fighter jets in total. And when we ramp up the production, it'll be more. And tanks is a lot more in Ukraine's favor. Russia has around 100 working tanks right now. Ukraine has a lot less. But NATO has 11,000 tanks, 11,445 tanks to be precise. So we can afford sending 200, 300 tanks to just decimate them, just to roll through them, destroy them. Another core part of my strategy is striking Russia in its territory. So I didn't completely say what I wanted to do in my air support section, so I'm going to say it now. I think we should gain aerial superiority over all of Ukraine and weaken Russia's air defenses to the point where we can send Predator drones or advanced drone warfare and stealth bombers into Russian territory and not get them shot down, and be able to make more precision shots. Take out more Russian air defense and Russian military capabilities, and take out power grids to make it so that the civilian population also feels something, feels an effect, not dire, but an effect, and starts opposing the government. I also advocate for sending long-range missiles to Ukraine and letting the Ukrainian government actually use them against Russian territory, unlike what we've been doing with the US saying, they're too risky. No. Another key part of my plan is the invasion of Crimea. That's Crimea, the island annexed by Russia in 2014. Here's how I would do it. So to make the Black Sea the NATO lake, we must first, of course, gain aerial superiority. That's the core part of my plan. Second of all, secure naval superiority. And then third of all, actually send troops to invade. Right now, there are 35,000 Russian troops stationed in Crimea, which of course would be ramped up, but with aerial superiority, shaved back down to 35,000. We're going to use our air superiority to take out Russian military assets. We will also use it to send in paratroopers deep into Crimean lines, and probably use guerrilla tactics to cripple even more Russia's defenses. And then I propose sending a Turkish-led invasion force of 50,000 or 55,000 troops into Crimea to liberate it and open a new front. Now here's some other strategies other than like actual military strategies, like I want to take the Donbass, let's invade Crimea type stuff, you know. I propose 5% military spending target for all NATO allies. I know this is already basically in effect, but I actually want every single country to enforce it and to actually make their budget 5% military spending. I propose an EU army or European army, aka unified army, aka unified military force of all members of the European Union to stand more strong against Russia. I propose full NATO military movability. The EU is already kind of doing this. They're trying to move this forward, but to make it so that troops only need a 6-hour notice to go through EU countries instead of like a 3-week notice. So in case of a Russian invasion or something else similar, we can deploy troops very fast. But I want to expand this to the entirety of NATO. I want to secure Georgia for the West by securing the election results, because they're rigged for the pro-Russian party. So we'll send observers and we'll send all the other stuff to make sure to see if it's fair or not. So either they make it fair or they just rig it and we say they're illegitimate and then just sanction them. If possible, I want Ukraine to open a front in Belarus, take out the Belarusian government with help from NATO forces. Now, this doesn't really fit into my plan. This would be a separate plan. But if this is possible, if the war's going really good, then this would be a great addition to take out another Russian puppet. Speaking of Russian puppets, I want to sabotage Russian puppet states. The 2 in Georgia, we should keep on sanctioning them, keep on sabotaging them, and they're already doing horrible. Also the one in Moldova, Transnistria, is also doing horrible. I want them to do more horrible, and I want them to be reintegrated into their parent countries, because that's where they belong. And let's be honest, they are Georgian and they are Moldovan territory. It's just that the Russian occupied, basically. To fight against Russia, we should encourage separatism and encourage opposition groups like the late great Navalny, because if we actually win in Ukraine, there will definitely be a crumbling of support for the Kremlin. There might be some separatism. There'll probably be a coup or something, some turmoil in Russia, because they realize Putin is really horrible at his job, and they're humiliating Russia on the world stage. I also call for total EU sanctions on all of Russian goods. No more gas coming into Europe, because we have to stop funding the Russian war machine. And I also call for a US-Ukraine free trade agreement, which I'm shocked doesn't exist already, because Ukraine has free trade agreements with all of NATO except the US. Like, what are we doing here? Thank you for listening. If you're a parliamentarian, a congressman, someone working at NATO, maybe take notes. Thank you for watching, and bye. Slava Ukraine.